Hello everyone, my name is Caitlin. I am the Commercial Director here at Azerion, and we're really pleased to share with you some research that if you read the trade press, you will have actually seen it's come out in B&T and MI3 today. So really thrilled to actually take it through with you today. That wasn't planned, actually, to release it today. So, the stars are just aligned. So we actually ran a case study with New Balance, and I will sort of speak to this, but it is the first case study of its kind in Australia, whereby we were really able to attribute footfall into New Balance stores through in-game ads. So exciting stuff. But before I do take you through that, I'll go through some of the methodology. We'll speak to what LifeSite actually does and how we can build out attribution of gaming creatives to drive footfall. Before I do need to introduce you to who we are and what we do. And I promise it does actually set some context as to what this case study does include. Azerion, we entertain audiences. We really pride ourselves on the quality experiences that we can drive through multiple screens, not just in game, but also in your high impact immersive experiences through desktop as well. We own 20,000 game titles, and what that means is that we can be really prescriptive with the experience in which people can expect for gaming advertising, as well as the experience for the gamer itself. We actually do have quite a number of different experiences. When I do talk to experiences, it's in-game through casual environments. So this is really largely where we have our owned and operated titles. These are largely desktop and mobile placed. We do have premium games, so this is where you can expect the likes of your console experience and social as well. So we actually own 3 metaverses. Come and talk to me if you would ever like to think about any of the great experiences that we can build through the metaverse. But today I'm going to focus very largely on the casual game environment, as this is where the case study really started to come to life and what New Balance actually activated within this space. Now, I think just really nicely leading into some of the misconceptions of what gaming really is and where we do actually see audiences quite largely found. The casual gaming environment is unique. It has a really strong plethora of experiences in which we can expect for that kind of game environment. However, what is really, I think, exciting is some of the benchmarks and the statistics that you can see here on the screen. These are essentially what we do see from an advertising perspective on an ongoing basis. 90% viewability, 1% click-through rate, and 80% video completion rate for any of your video ads. Now, the case study itself actually really surpassed a lot of these benchmarks, but I think we really found there to be a really unique opportunity for us to include some of our amplification partners to actually cross-reference against the work that we did with New Balance here. Some of the amplification partners that you can see here on the screen, Lumen, we provide that for any of your viewability and reach metrics. LifeSite is the partner that we actually worked with to look at footfall attribution for this particular case study. So going back to the case study at hand, New Balance came to us last year with a brief of raising awareness of their new industrial footline range. So you can see in the background there, it is quite groovy and funky, but it's also very practical. But the second part to that objective was actually driving younger audiences into store. Now, we know that specifically males 18 to 44, I don't know why you are, but you are the hardest to reach in media. And really, we needed to come up to a solution where there was an ability to actually measure out and prove that in-store visitation through user conversion. And naturally, some of that measurement would also tie back to reach in those right contextual environments. So the solution that we built for New Balance was a combination of environments, not only in gaming, and I will preface that it was not a sole gaming media plan that we actually built for New Balance. We did have beautiful, big, high impact formats. Again, hit us up if you want to talk high impact. But today is more about gaming. We actually ran in-game formats for New Balance target audiences that were built around standard IAB formats as well as reward video. And I'll talk you through sort of that kind of experience. Now, because this experience is largely mobile based, we were able to work with LifeSite to deliver a first to market in-game footfall attribution study. So this is measuring the exposure of those ad formats and attributing them back to New Balance in-store visitation. So looking at the formats again, as you can see on the top here, we have our standard IAB formats. Now, as you can see, it is really non-intrusive. So a lot of the times when these ads will actually show up is when the game is paused or when there is a completion of a level, those kinds of things to really not disrupt that user experience. Reward video, which is what you can see playing on the bottom mobile device, this is incentivized viewing. So this is where there is quite a value exchange for the user to actually watch that video in full. So you could watch up to a 30-second TVC and you are incentivized for that view with additional lives within the game, additional modifications. There is a true value exchange for that time that you have spent with that video. I like to sort of think of it similar to a Spotify listening. When you watch a video, you might get 30 minutes ad-free listening. So that kind of same sort of incentive for that full view. So those are the two ad formats that we ran in-game. The methodology that we ran with LifeSite was that we were able to tap back into their massive reach for mobile devices that they can scale. So LifeSite actually have access to 13 million Australian mobile devices, and we're able to build that cross-device environment exposure to match to those mobile IDs that were attributed to our campaign, building back into their in-store footfall traffic. So some key results. Out of the full campaign, we had 1.5 million impressions analysed across mobile devices. This drove over 90,000 unique visits over this campaign period. Now, this campaign only ran for 2 months. It was actually only live over 2 months. I think it actually, the media itself ran for 4 weeks. And in that time, we saw over 90,000 unique visits, which was an uplift of 61% over the campaign period. So really significant results, all measured and attributed back to the in-game ad formats. And I think I did mention that we did have in-game activity running in conjunction with high impact media, but we did actually find that in-game ads were most effective at converting users to that store visitation. So the visit index was actually 85% higher than average from a LifeSite benchmark perspective. 50% of the users that were exposed to the in-game ads visited within 10 days, and this is versus the average of 12 days that we do see from a LifeSite benchmark point of view. And gamers actually spent the most time in store, so it was almost 30 minutes on average in store time as well. And when I look to some of the most effective formats and where we actually saw that in-game being that real effectiveness in driving those in-store footfall visitations, we did see some of those benchmarks at the very beginning of the presentation, what we could expect from a video completion rate, what we could expect from a click-through rate. Well, needless to say, they really did surpass those benchmarks. So we did see an almost 90% video completion rate for that reward video. And as you can expect, that value exchange is not only within the game itself, but also really was able to drive that footfall attribution. And we did see click-through rate over the benchmark as well. So 1.5% click-through rate. And that highest index to visitation was naturally Gen Z. We didn't have to skew any of their media towards that. However, that was really their bullseye target as to where they did want to see that uplift in that footfall attribution. Reward video, which is that exchange value, was 55% more effective at driving short-term footfall visitation, so converting users within 5 days of exposure. And in-game display was also more effective at converting users versus the average on the media plan. So all in all, New Balance really did see some true value in investing in gaming for that exposure to unique audiences that are quite hard to reach. And overall, we did see 161% uplift for shoe products in store. Now, the one thing that you're probably thinking is, how do we actually build out that footfall attribution towards sales? It's extraordinarily difficult to actually measure unique mobile IDs and then put that back to point of sale. Also, I think there's privacy challenges there. But ultimately, we were really, really pleased to see that Gen Z, which was the audience that they really wanted to convert the highest, was the biggest age group for store visitation. Some nice nuggets of insights as well, that Fridays after 3 p.m, no doubt after school, gonna hit up the parties on the weekends, you know, that kind of experience. And metro stores as well had a really strong dwell time as well, so the average 15 minutes as well. And it wouldn't be a case study without a nice quote from our media partners. So we did work with Yakuzu really hardly for this campaign. They're a brilliant partner of ours, and to be able to recognise, you know, where there's that great potential for growth for in-game advertising, the partnership that we were able to build with LifeSite and New Balance is something that I think we can really hold as a testament to brands who are willing to trial this space and find their audiences in unique and meaningful ways. So really, I think the power of the gaming environment and the way in which we were able to show that it was invaluable in driving that business success is something that we're really proud of. So really, the two key takeaways are that gaming formats have the ability to drive in-store foot traffic, and especially I think within those short-term windows as well. So having that exposure within the 5-day turnaround time to actually visitation is something that I think is quite unique. And being Gen Z, the people that we wanted to convert the most likely to visit in-store post-exposure was a really, really, I think, pleasing result. So thank you.